Hello and welcome back to the All Fall Back podcast episode 89. We are back after a slightly longer enforced break due to various reasons over the Christmas and New Year period. I hope everyone's had a good time and are getting back into the swing of things as we are now on the approach to the end of the season now. We have plenty to get on this episode, so without any further ado, I am joined by all the lads as usual. Good evening to Chester.
Good evening, Tank. Good evening, all.
It's a good evening to Hads.
Good evening, Tank. Good evening, all.
And finally, but by no means least, it's a good evening to Shads.
Happy New Year to everybody and to our three listeners.
So on to tonight's episode. We have, as we said, a very packed show tonight. So we've got the BGP Round 5 at Gorzo recap, as well as the SCS one. We shall have a look at the leaderboard for both of them very briefly. Then we shall recap the Knockout Cup Grand Final between the Spartans and the Storm, and then we shall go and look at the reviews for BGP Round 6 at Redcar and the SCS Round 6 at Redcar as well, so see what's going on there heading into the final round. Then we shall look into the 14 tournament, the semi-final and the grand final that took place on Monday just gone, and in a change to the past episodes, we shall look at Shad's Rider of the Month to see the gap that we've had, so it seemed the right thing to do, and also we shall look forward to the upcoming fixtures in week 20 of the league previews. So
not much then.
No.
Not much then.
So we had round 5 obviously before the Christmas break, and obviously round 5 of the BGP at Gorzo, which took place on Sunday the 14th of December. The meeting was won by Cam, who occupied third place at the end of the meeting, which he has held for a while now. The final was a good one. It included 3 of the top 4 in the championship chase: Stefan, who finished second, and Mareki, who finished third place. It keeps the championship alive going into round 6 at Redcar, with Mareki keeping the heat on Stefan and not making him relax for a moment. Notable performance for this round would be Stephen 101, equaling his best score already this series, which he got 11 points in round 2 and made his second semi-final. This puts him in touching distance of the top 8, with Craig unfortunately missing out on riding. As you can see from the leaderboard, 7 points separates first to third, with Mareki just 3 points behind Stefan at this stage after round 5. This is the closest it has been for Stefan in the BGP. We then move on to round 5 of the SCS, also at Gorzo, and on the same night we had a win for Rico, so you can be assured it was a very happy night in that household for Rico and Cam. Rico raced away to a 19-point haul, which is the highest score for a rider in any round this series, only being beaten twice. He was joined in the final by Le Sorcier, Hadlington and JC. Le Sorcier got back to his usual scoring for this round after a below par performance in round 4, scoring just 7, but he lost his place in the top 3, just being nudged out by Hads, who equalled his best score of the series from the previous round in round 4. As you can see from the leaderboard, Rico has taken a sizable lead in the championship title chase, and it looks his to lose already with 2 rounds to go. 9 points separates second to 6th place, so anything can happen in round 6 to see who is where come the final round of the series. We now conclude our trio of recap meetings with the Knockout Cup, which I shall now hand over to Chester to run us through it.
Thank you, Tank. Yes, the Knockout Cup second leg between the Spartans and the Storm. The Storm had a mountain to climb after the first leg, going down by 61 points to 35 at Peterborough. So it was a mountain to climb, and despite all efforts, the Spartans ran through as 126 to 66 aggregate win with a dominant 65-31 away victory, showing why the Spartans are the team to beat in this year's Sliders League. My first question to you is going to be to the gold medal winner of the Knockout Cup, Hadlington. Had 5+2, a couple of disappointing rides, but 2 paid wins in the last 2. Overall, a good night's work.
Yeah, I think if this had happened in previous seasons, I'd have just tailed off and probably scored another 1 point maybe, but the racing was really close throughout, and it helped, I think, that there wasn't too much pressure on the last 2 rides as well, but it was nice, obviously, to finish with a couple of 5-1s to finish the meeting off, especially with Stefan beating Ryan in that heat 15 and 12, even though he didn't finish either race. Still always nice to get one beating Ryan. As we all know, he's tough to beat. So, yeah, very happy Spartans camp at the minute. So, very pleased. I did try and check the overall scores of the aggregate if it was the biggest one, but obviously we can't check properly with the stats and all that at the moment. So, still unsure, but who knows?
I must say, your team from 1 to 6 this year has been pretty much unstoppable. Got to give a shout out as well to Le Sorcier scoring 11+2 from reserve, even getting heat 16 with Bertschy's come back into the game, and Sorcier scored paid 13 in that final meeting. Shads, I'm gonna bring you in if I can now, bud. I know it was a bit of a disappointing night for you guys, but you joint top score with 8 points. But a season that could have been a lot more different. Hence, if rides were available, and I guess more practice and training, I guess.
Well, the less said about this meeting, the better. I mean, we were just going through the motions really after the first leg demolition. I don't think we practiced at all until the night of the meeting. I mean, I won't go into detail. You've all seen the spreadsheet. I mean, only 2 heat wins. Nowhere near good enough, really. What more can I say? But in the words of Jose Mourinho, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. In big trouble, and I don't want to be in big trouble.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I mean, to be fair, Shads, the season that you guys have had, but I mean, to get to the final and finish runner-up, I mean, you got to be happy with that sort of performance, just getting through to the final. But knowing you had to go against Spartans, it was sort of one-way traffic for those guys.
I said it. I've been saying it all season. At the start of the season, the fixture list was quite friendly to us. I've always maintained we're not as good as what people think we are. Well, they've seen how good we are now, but at the start of the season, I never thought we were in contention. I mean, I looked down the teams. I mean, especially the Spartans team. I thought no team's going to beat that. No one's going to beat that. I mean, Dragons obviously did them over in the KO Cup, but Spartans got them back in the second leg. But I thought we can't compete with that. I mean, especially with the makeup of the side. I mean, with riders having issues and riders leaving and availability issues and people falling out with other people. It's just a nightmare. I'm just fed up with it, to be honest. I just want the season to end.
I say you only got a couple more meetings to go, Shads.
Well, no, we've got the other trophy, haven't we? The Neil Potter Trophy.
Neil Potter Shield, yeah. But in terms of
Neil
league,
Potter
it's
Shield.
like
So basically, we've got a minimum of 4 meetings.
Yeah.
Well, let's say 4 meetings.
Well, apart from that, chaps, of course, the Spartans and the Storm gave us. Well, I mean, I guess the score doesn't reflect how the racing was, but again, the Spartans roll on for another league or for a league and cup double this year. So congratulations to the Peterborough Spartans.
Yeah, can I just add my congratulations? I don't want to stand all bitter and blah blah blah, but clearly the better team, deserve to go through. So good on them. I'm not being a total. I was going to say the word began with W there, but I did. I just remember we're recording it, aren't we? So
Yeah, I thought you were going to say the B word there.
No, fair play, the better team. I'll save my my sourness to the end of the season when we talk about the teams individually.
That'll definitely be one to look out for. But anyway, congratulations to the Spartans winning the KO Cup for season 21. And with that, I'm going to hand back over to Mr. Tank.
Thank you very much. We now go into the meetings that took place this past week on our return to racing, and that was the BGB and the SCS of the round 6 at Redcar. I want to hand over to Shads and Haz, who shall talk us through their thoughts and analysis of the round.
Yeah, so we had obviously round 6 at my old home track, which we won't mention too much. In the GP, again, it was a third win of the season for Stefan. 17 points this time, but again, Mareki just a point behind him, who finished third place on the night. And hats off to Speedy, who actually has scored double figures in every single round this season, believe it or not. So, congratulations to him. There was also a maybe surprise finalist for some. Maxed came in the last round and just missed out on the semi-finals, and this round he made the final but came last this time around, so a good return for him with 11 points. Shads, anybody surprise you in this one?
Yeah. First of all, gotta just say, what a lovely track. It provided some brilliant racing. I mean, I take back everything I said. I said I hated the track. I didn't see the point in it, but got to say, Hads, you were right all along, and all the people that bigged it up, JC and various others. Yeah, very nice track. Stefan, I was very impressed with. He always does it. He always holds his nerve towards the end of the season, doesn't he? In that stages, he always holds his nerve. Others sort of lose it. I know he's I know he's going to be listening, but I say Cam, he's just completely slipped right out of contention now. I mean, 6 points is very, very disappointing for him. I mean, that's his lowest score of the season by a long way. I mean, it's always going to be a big ask for him to win it, but now he's going to have to pull out something out of the bag at Melbourne in the final round to even make the top 3. I'd say Max, like you said, Max had a really good meeting, considering he doesn't race regularly, just pops in for the odd GP guest appearance. And I think Stephen didn't do too badly. I mean, he's unlucky in the semi-final, but I think he would have been in contention to win it if he'd have made that final. But yeah, you got to look at the top 3 scorers: Speedy, Stefan, and Mareki. Really going to be really interesting last round.
Yeah, I think with that score as well from Cam, Speedy's actually put him under pressure now for the bronze medal overall. Just 4 points separating third and fourth. Obviously, the two-way race at the top between Mareki and Stefan is also 4 points. Now a bit further down, I think Fake is safe for next season, but then I think after that, from Cappy down, I'll probably say as far as Craig, maybe even Squall, if one of them can put a good last round in, it's going to be a tough call for these last 4 spaces.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, like you said, the race for the top 8 is really interesting. I mean, like you said, Fecky safe. I think Cappy's probably safe as well. But I think below those two, Dret Locker and Stephen 101 will be looking over their shoulders at the likes of TJ and Ads, and possibly Craig if he rides. But on his form this season, I'd say it's quite unlikely that he's going to make the top 8 this year.
Yeah, I think he's as well. Toby missing 2 rounds as well. If he hadn't missed those 2 rounds, he'd be obviously be in the top 8 as well. Craig as well, higher up. But if you notice as well, those top 8 riders, none of those have missed 1 round between them. So it just proves if you even if you score 3, I mean, you have a Stephen 101 scoring 3 there, Dret Locker 3, and a Cappy even a 5, and Fakey just scoring those points every single round, no matter what, gets you into a good position come the end of the season.
I think another thing to take into consideration as well is if Ads does make the top 8, he may have to relinquish his spot in the GPs next year because of his Sunday work schedule. Dean, if he does make the top 8
Yeah,
this
that is
week,
true.
if he does make the top 8 next round, he still might go to the guy who finished below him. I think that's how it works, is it?
Yeah.
Or maybe it goes on an extra qualification from the GPs qualifiers. I don't know. Tank might be able to tell us.
Before the GPSS challenge, it'll go on this season. As soon as the challenges happen, it'll go from the challenge.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Unless the dates fall kindly for Ads, he's gonna have to pull out anyway.
Yeah, which is why he
But
pulled out.
he's ridden in four of the last 6 of the 6 rounds, so that's a lot more than some of the others have below him.
So with that, we're going to hand over to Mr. Tank and Chester to do the SES review of round 6.
We now move on into the SES round 6, and it was won by Bobby, and he was joined in the final by JC, our very own Shads, and Reese02. Notable performances from Shads, getting back to his usual scores in the SCS after 2 below par performances in the previous 2 rounds, as well as Alan, who made his second semi-final of the series, whilst also equalling his best score from round 1, when he also made the semi-final and also came third then too. Chester, what did you think of the meeting?
Yeah, it was a very good meeting, Tank. Congratulations to Bobby. In the meetings that he's performed in, he's done really, really well. And I think he's won 2 meetings that he's been in the 3 that he's been. So it's very impressive. I mean, you can imagine if Bobby started from the start of the season, how far at the table he would be. But so notable performances, as you said, our very own Shad getting through to the final, scoring 14 points overall. So a good win, a good performance there from Shads. Haddington on his own home track, disappointed. Only like 1 decent win in his last race, but I mean 4 third places. I mean it wasn't no last places, as you'd imagine. But I'm sure that more would have been seen out of Haddington on his own track. But yeah, it was a good result. I say Reese and JC made the final. In fact, JC and Bobby both tied on the same amount of points. So that was also a very good overall points haul for those two. Which of course takes it into the final round 7. As we look at the table, you see there, Rico's got it in the bag. He needs a monumental nightmare in the last round to lose it now. So it's between Reese and Le Sorcier, who finishes second. However, creeping up in 4th and 5th, tied on 64 points apiece, our very own all-4 back duo of Hads and Shads. So who's going to get bragging rights out of those two? As the course of the meeting, the last round goes down under to Melbourne for the final round of the very impressive and very competitive SCS. And look at that, Bobby, as I mentioned, had 3 meetings in and he's now in the top 8, which is impressive by his feet as well. And yeah, but a great meeting overall by everybody. I guess Rico he's just got to turn up and not finish last, and he becomes the SCS champion. But it's all down to finishing second and third between Reese and Le Sorcier. Only just a few points separating them. Of course, Le Sorcier outscored Reese in round 6, and in fact in round 5 as well. So double points there for Le Sorcier. So he'll need a big meeting in Melbourne in the final round to overhaul Reese. But no one can catch Rico. He's pretty much got the meeting sewn up and in the bag. But yeah, great win there for Bobby in the round 6. And with that, I'm going to hand back over to Tank to take us through the rest of the meeting.
I agree that if Rico doesn't win it now, and that, yeah, I mean, it's odds on. Regardless either way, he's got top 3. But it is very much up for and that changing for the oppositions for second and third, and that. So we shall see how the final round goes, really, because yeah, and that Bobby's is kind of like a false position due to the 3 rounds he missed. He would be higher up had he not. So that's how it falls, but who knows what will happen come the challenge. He may put himself in the challenge and then obviously get promoted. There's also that caveat. So it's now obviously both the BGP and the SES are nicely poised going into the final round to see who finishes where for the season 22 series. Now moving on to the 14 tournament, which took place on Monday the 5th, we had both the semi-finals and the grand final on the same night, with the semi-final starting at 8 PM and 9 PM for the final. Chester will run us through the evening's events.
And what a track it was. No word of a lie. That was when the track was announced, a lot of people were like, oh my good God. But yeah, we start off with the semi-final, Cowboys, Storm, Wolves and Panthers. And to everyone's surprise, it was the Panthers that took the win. Clear. Literally, they were head and shoulders above the rest. And it took a runoff between the Storm and Wolves to see who got the second spot in the grand final. And that went to the Storm on a runoff. So it was a good meeting overall. Of course, these guys had to then face the wrath of the Spartans and the Dragons in the grand final. But of course, these 4 were seeded into the semi-final based on the averages and the total. I think it was like the total averages and all that. So, but yeah, notable performances from a couple of teams. Of course, TJ dropping just 1 point, 11 points there for the Storm. Same with Moretsky, dropping just 1 point in his 4 program rides. Wolves essentially racing with a 3-man team. JC was not included, so it was a case of Unknown, Bewitcher, and Super Dip flying the flags for the Wolves. But it was in the end, it was a case of the Panthers and the Storm going through to the grand final of the 4-team tournament, which we'll look at now. And the grand final saw a dominant win. Well, are we surprised really? Spartans this year, clear out in front, led of course by Stefan on a 12-point max. He was going places where everyone else wasn't, and he was finding lines where we wasn't. Closely followed in second place by Storm, who got the better of the Panthers, finishing in third. And a disappointing run there for the Dragons, finishing in 4th, only on 14 points. Very disappointing. Only Squall giving the most resilience for the Dragons team there, scoring 6 points. But again, Spartans, 38 points, 9 unbeatable. And again, even the Storm, they had a race of Ryan top score with 10 points. And again, with our very own, well, in fact, all 3 of you guys were in this meeting. Hadlington was for the Spartans, you had Tank for the Panthers, and you had Chad for the Storm. So first of all, I'll bring in Hadlington. Another gold medal, mate. It's looking plain sailing for you guys this year.
Yeah, to say a tale of 24 hours, the disappointment of the day before to this one, it was just, that sums it up, to be fair. Same amount of points as well, but no last places for the team. I mean, I think over 16 heats is superb, to be honest. I mean, and how many heat wins was it? 8 heat wins, I think it was. Out of the 16. So
yeah, Stefan won 4 of them. Ads won
Yeah.
3, and DL Shaw won 1.
and the one, obviously, we had a few reruns, and I think I have to mention the one because I forget which race I was in with Badger, heat 10, and it got pulled back for a rerun, but Badger actually won the original running of the race, and Ryan came last, and then in the rerun, it was reversed, and Ryan won, and Badger was last. So yeah, that was a tough one for Badger, really, because he rode really well in that race. But as I say, yeah, pleased again, another gold medal, and the only team I think over the night to use the actual top 4 riders of their squad, which I think proved really important come the end of the meeting.
Absolutely. Tank, I'll bring you in if I can as well, bud, as a fellow Panthers. Bronze medal for the team. Just missing out on silver by a couple of points, but overall, a good night's work for the Panthers.
Yeah, very good. We weren't expecting at all to get to the final. I think even Capesy would admit, just go out there, have fun. We're not making the final, and then we started so well, and we obviously just rode the crest of the wave of just getting things right, and it just felt right for us. Okay, we got lucky in the opening, like 1-2 races of the final when Storm obviously got excluded in one of their races. I think it was Racer Run. But apart from that, it was good to get to the final. We didn't perform as good in the finals as we did the semi-final. I wouldn't really put it down to it was harder in the final as such. Well, it probably was in one way, but I think we weren't as fresh as we were when we were in the final. So I think that kind of played its part, and I think we overtried just a touch as well. So it's one of them, but still to come third place, just miss out on second. We were the latter half of the meeting. We were trying to get the silver medal because we felt like we could do it, but it weren't to be. And coming third when you didn't think you were going to make the final itself, you can't be upset with it really. So yeah, very happy with that.
And Shads for the Storm getting the silver medal. Say a season of 2 halves really for you guys. But to get the silver medal in the 4-team tournament on a very tricky track. Your thoughts on proceedings?
Yeah, I'm surprised we made the final, to be honest. I don't know if you probably know that we had a bit of an administrative cock up when we 3 of us thought that the meeting started at 8 o'clock. So we're sitting there in practice. Westy, Ryan, and myself. TJ had left just before 8 o'clock, which I thought was pretty rude to leave practice half an hour before the meeting. Little did we know it was an 8 o'clock start, and then Ryan missed his first ride.
Oh no!
It was yeah, schoolboy error. Thanks to TJ, we got to the final, and probably as well thanks to JC not being there, because I don't think we would have beaten Wolves on the night. But the final was a lot tougher, obviously with Spartans and Dragons. But the Dragons were really disappointing. I don't know what happened to them. They looked like they hadn't practiced at all. I mean, Spartans deserved the title, but we were quite shocked and pleased to finish a distant runner-up. I mean, I'd have taken that before the evening, considering we hadn't done any practice at all before 7:15 on the night.
Yeah, I think Squall had some net issues with his connection, hence why he struggled a little bit in his couple of rides. But again, there's no stopping Spartans this year. I think they're the team that everyone needs to try and beat, and they're just one step ahead of everyone else. So, but yeah, so they're almost on the league. They've got the KO Cup, They've got the 4-team tournament. They could have a VGP champion in their midst if all goes well in that final round. And it's a good season to be a Spartan this year, by the sounds of it. And of course, on top of that, Stefan got the track record in Heat 8 as well. Yes, Hads, go ahead.
I just wanted to add, but when we first practiced this track, obviously a few of us was practicing, and I said, please get a reserve on standby. This track is the absolute, it's awful. And then I was told by Stefan, mainly, look, we're not having a reserve. You're riding. You're in the top 4. You're in the meeting. Forget about it. Ride. And to be honest, that gave me a little kick up the backside. And it worked. Ended up well in the end. With no last places. So yeah, definitely.
Well, I did say in group chat that the track was going to be a leveler, this one, and it certainly was. But again, a great win for the Spartans there. Another gold medal to their very impressive tally this season. And with that being said, I'm going to hand back over to Mr. Tank.
Thank you very much. Now we have reached the part of the show where everyone loves to know who's going to gain Chad's all-important Rider of the Month. Yeah, you've not heard wrong, obviously, from the episode breakdown. It's not for the week, it's for, obviously, the month, as we've had the prolonged absence, so it's been tweaked. So with that, Shads, take it away.
One this month. Just a couple of contenders. Firstly, Rico blowing everyone away in the SCS series, dropping just 2 points at Gorzo. And now, barring something extraordinary, looks like he's picking up the SCS title. Good luck in the GPs next year, mate. But with just 3 points dropped at Gorzo when the pressure was on, and a 5-ride maximum at Kings Lynn in the KO Cup final, winning the GP round at Redcar, extending his lead in the series. My rider of the month is Stefan.
Congratulations to Stefan. But he's been waiting for that one for a few seasons now. We now move on into the next fixtures coming up this week, and our very first meeting that we've got is the Hastings Dragons against the Milton Keynes Cowboys, which takes place on Monday the 12th of January at 8 o'clock. Obviously all meetings will be taking place on Monday as well. This could be a very one-sided meeting potentially, I think, because Cowboys haven't been in good form. They've been rock bottom most of the season, and with how Dragons have been at home, I'd go as far to say I don't think they'll really get out of first gear, let alone second gear maybe. Depends who turns up really. Haz, what do you think about the meeting?
I think it will be a home win. This one I think it's going to be tough for the Cowboys, especially with their availability this season has not been great as well, with obviously work commitments for a few of the team, and that change with Fakey coming in for Kaney. They've actually used 10 guests throughout the season in the 8 matches so far, which is probably some kind of record, I don't know. But interestingly enough, for the Dragons, Stephen 101 has only had one meeting at home. Whether that's because of the 8 o'clock starts, I'm not sure, but they've obviously stuck with them for quite a while now. So yeah, be interesting to see who lines up for the Dragons, as David Nofia has pulled out the last couple of rounds of the SCS as well. So not sure what's going on with him, but I think they do have to have a facility for him in the one of the remaining 2 matches. So if the other guys ride or be a guest or whatever, obviously no rider replacements when you're that far down the team. But I think the Cowboys, depending on who turns up, I think it could be the bottom end, especially, could be crucial, because I think it's a track that Rico could really get to grips with in current form as well. So I expect him to have 6-7 rides, especially if they may have a guest or rider replacement again. So yeah, but I do think it'll be a comfortable home win in the end, with the Dragons taking the points.
Yeah, and I think with what you mentioned about Stephen 101, I think the way Fitchers have fell from this season with his outside commitments, I mean, he hasn't ridden much, I believe. He's not refereed as many this season due to the same reasons as well. So I think that's David No Fear. Obviously, like you said, needs to ride in one of the last two. So hopefully he can. You never know. We might see surprise result, but I don't think we will. This will just be a turn up, one-sided and done. Unfortunately, but I've said that before and it's not happened. So we shall see. Also, on the same night at 8:30 is the Wolverhampton Wolves against the Ellesmere Port Panthers, and it's going to be an interesting one. Shaz, what do you think about the meeting?
Battle for fourth place and a chance to prolong the season for a couple of weeks. What's at stake here? If Wolves win this well, get the 3 points, they will go level on points with the Panthers, albeit with a vastly inferior meeting points difference. And Wolves have the easier last meeting on paper with a trip to the winless Cowboys, whereas the Panthers face a daunting task at home to Spartan. So the Panthers really need to get something out of this if they want to finish in the top four. Wolves will have to be at full strength with Lima back in the side and Unknown putting his dislike for the Wolves trap behind him to get the win here. Wolves have only won one of their 4 home league meetings, and that was a narrow win over the Cowboys. And so they could struggle against the Panthers side who demolished the Cowboys in their last league meeting in early December. I'm looking at the mandatory minimum match counter. Both sides have issues. The Wolves need to find a guest for Hutty, which is going to be difficult to do because it'd be difficult for guests for anyone on the night because all 6 teams are riding at the same time. So if you're going to get guests, it's going to have to be outside of the league. It's hard to predict this one. So for once, I'm going to sit on the fence.
From a Panthers perspective, we're pretty confident of going for all 4 points. That's all we're looking at is the 4 points, and we have all season. But yeah, it's and got to capitalise on Wolves. Obviously, stop-start and season and the issues they've had, as well as obviously having Hutty not there to obviously score the points since he stepped down from the team. So we're confident, but we'll see what happens on the night. Then we move into the final fixture of next week's fixtures, and that will be the Peterborough Spartans against the King's Lynn Storm. Chester, what do you think about the meeting?
It's going to be a very tough meeting for the Storm. No disrespect to who they've got in their team, but Spartans are on fire so far. They're unbeaten in league, and it'll be a tough ask. I have heard that Spartans could be after a guest, but not to say too much. But again, it all depends on what Storm turns up. They've had a tricky season. Obviously since the withdrawal of Lofty, and we do wish Lofty still recovering from his situation that he's had a few months ago. So get well soon, Lofty. And yeah, just Spartans. They've been pretty solid throughout 1 to 7. I will say Hadlington, as number 4. You're definitely up there with the top 4 in the league or in the team so far. I expect you to score really, really well. Shads, wow.
That's a kiss of death then.
Well, you've scored really well this season, Hads. So I've got to give you some credit, mate. Just go easy on Shads in Heat 1 if you can, mate. Just go easy on him, because it's been a bit of a tough old season for the Storm. But
how do you know I'll be in Heat 1?
Well, we'll soon find out. We'll soon find out, won't we? But yeah, I do say it could potentially.
How do you know I'll be in Heat 1?
Well, we'll soon find out, won't we?
I don't like doing Heat. I don't like Heat 1s.
No one likes doing Heat 1s. No one likes doing them.
I like them.
Well, I'm gonna say Spartans win. I'd like to see the Storm keep it close. They got riders that can do it. But again, Spartans at home, tough old ask.
I think it'll be a Spartans win, but hopefully, I think it's like the 3rd time era that they've that both teams have met, or at least be the third time that I can think off the top of my head. So hopefully it's closer than the other means that they've had together. Looking at teams, there's not really much to choose on when you look at them and what they can, each rider can potentially reach. But yeah, I think the bottom end might be the difference. If it's going to be close, the bottom end will be the difference. But as long as everything else goes to plan, it should be fun.
Thing is, our bottom end starts from number 3.
Wow. Wow.
But look.
Bottom end
Let's
starts
not
at
let's
3.
cut to the chase, boys. If the Spartans don't hit 70 points on Monday, I vote we take all their titles away from them this season, because that'd be an absolute disgrace if they don't hit 70 points against that Storm team on Monday night.
Well,
Wow.
I'd be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed if I was a Spartan. I'd be embarrassed if I didn't score 70 points.
To be fair, we just get hoping to get the 3 points.
I'd go as to be honest, I think anything can happen. I mean, it can, and it has done this season already, and that obviously included the Spartans. But yeah, it does seem one-sided. That's where my head and my heart is really. But I'd like to see it a bit closer, and who knows? We shall see how that one goes. So, but we're pretty much at the end of the show now. Obviously, we've got our social media links. Chester, would you like to run us through them?
Yes, I will do, Tank. If you like what you hear and want to get involved with all things related to Speedway Turbo Sliders, there's all your links. We've got the website, forum, Discord, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter that gets updated on a regular basis. And I'm sure that one of our lovely members will point you in the right directions for where you need to go.
Thank you very much. Here is what's coming up on next week's show. We have the Week 20 reviews. We have Shider's Rider of the Week. We then will have the BGP Round 7 at Melbourne lineup draw, as well as the SCS with the wildcard announcement for that as well. And then we shall preview the Week 21 fixtures, which is the final league ones before we head into the Neil Potter Shield, which should hopefully have more information on that before next week's show to obviously put it into the show and to know who's facing who in the Neil Potter Shield. So that is all we have for you on this returning episode of the All Fall Back podcast, and that wraps up episode 89. All that is left for me to say is thank you for joining us for all things British Speedway Sliders for another week, and a good night from Chester.
It's a very good night to you, Tank, and good night all, and enjoy next week's show.
It's a good night from Hats.
Good night all, up the Spartans.
And it's a good night from Shads.
Good night, everyone.
And finally, it's a good night from myself, Stephen, until next week when we shall be back, so you don't have to wait too long for the next instalment. Once again, thanks for joining us, and good night.